Thinking about booking Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, as you may already know, these reservations at Walt Disney World can get pretty competitive, and we have actually been in the thick of that ourselves at the moment. My girls are 2 and 4, but in a couple months, my younger one's turning 3 in a week at this point, and my oldest will be 5 here in just a couple months, and we are going for her birthday. So they will be 3 and 5 at that time, and so we are going to be booking our first Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique experience. So I wanted to kind of share a 3-part Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique series. It's obviously going to be spread out. The first part is this video, which is how to get a reservation and what to know when you're booking, before you're booking, things to be aware of. The second part will be the full experience, so you can see that, see what it looks like, and see what those new 2026 packages include, which we will talk about that in this video. And then part 3 will just be an overview, my final thoughts, my pros, cons, tips that I learn from actually experiencing it with my girls, and we will be trying both of the packages, so chatting on that as well. That being said, in this video today, we're gonna talk about how to book, my best tips for getting a reservation with that being highly competitive, what to know before your booking window opens, and important details about your appointment before you arrive for that day. So quick overview, what is Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique? If you're watching this, you've probably already read up about this already or know a little bit about it, but if you haven't, it is located in Magic Kingdom. It is basically, it's known for its princess makeovers. There's a couple different packages that we'll talk about in this video, but that is the big thing, is a princess makeover that everybody is going for, and it's for anyone ages 3 through 12. They also have some night experiences for little boys, if you've seen those as well. And like I said, it is one of Disney World's most popular experiences. So you're gonna need a reservation to get into that. It is very rare that you're going to get in without a reservation, and it may even be difficult to get a reservation. So that's why I'm making this video today, is not only to talk through how to book and some information that you need to know, but give you some tips and tricks that will kind of help you have your best shot at getting that reservation if that's something that you're interested in doing. Diving right in, tips for getting your Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique reservation, starting with know when reservations actually open. So you might have seen with like dining reservations that they open 60 days before. That is the same with Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. It's open 60 days before your check-in. The difference between Bibbidi Bobbidi, since it is an enchanting extra, and dining reservations. Dining reservations open at 6 a.m. Eastern time or Disney time. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique will open at midnight Disney time or Eastern time. So I am in central, like the central time zone. So for me, that's 11 p.m. So that's something to note, and something that's kind of a bummer if you're booking it in reality, because if you're wanting to book it, you need to, I would highly suggest booking that at that exact time, which we'll dive into it for a second, but just know that it is 60 days before check-in. It is at 12 a.m. midnight Disney time or Eastern Standard Time. And if you are staying at a Disney resort, it is opening for 60 days before your check-in day for your entire trip. So if you're staying for a week, then 60 days before your check-in day, you can book for that entire week. So if you're not wanting Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique on your first or second day, you could still get that on your 6th or 7th day, 60 days before your actual check-in day. Which brings me to tip number 2. Consider not having Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique at the front of your vacation. As I said, it opens 60 days before your check-in day for your entire trip. So if you think about it, your first few days of the trip have probably had a lot of traffic when it comes to reservations. And since this is a more popular reservation, there could be no times open. I've had that happen before for myself, for clients, for both Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique and even popular dining options. So considering booking that towards the second half of your trip, where not so many people have gotten to those dates quite yet, is going to give you a better possibility of actually having reservations open, or reservations even available for maybe the time that you are looking for. Basically, the farther out you can get from the day that you're actually booking your Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique reservation is going to give you the better chance. And tip number 3, I kind of touched on this in tip number 1, but be ready right when they open. Not only do you want to know that it's 60 days out, but if it's opening at midnight Disney World time, I would be getting on there at midnight Disney World time, because I can tell you travel agents are doing that for their clients, i.e. me. That's what I do for my clients. I get on there right at the time to give them their best chance. Other people are doing it right at that time. So if you're just like, oh, I'm not gonna stay up that late, or I'm not gonna set an alarm to wake up at that time because I'll just do it in the morning with my dining reservations, there's a good chance that you're missing out because you're waiting. Like, that is 6 whole hours that people could have been booking Bibbidi Bobbidi reservations for potentially the same days you're looking, and you just wasted that time. So I would highly, highly suggest booking that right when it opens to give you your best chance. And tip number 4 is be flexible. This kind of ties into tip number 2 to book towards the end of your trip, but maybe have a couple days planned. So let's say you really want to do it day 4 of your vacation, maybe have a backup plan to do it day 6 or 7 of your trip if possible, so that if that first one doesn't have availability or doesn't have the availability that you want, you can just quickly switch and look for reservations on your 6th or 7th day, or whatever that might look like. Having a backup and having some flexibility, or even if Bibbidi Bobbidi is just something you know you want to do and you can't get it on the original day that you've aimed for, just start looking for other days and see where availability may be, and plan your Magic Kingdom day around whatever day you can get. I've done this before with dining reservations that I really wanted. I wanted it on like a Tuesday, couldn't get it, and just started looking for when it was available, and totally rearranged a couple days based off that reservation. It's not a huge deal. It wasn't a huge deal to us. And so if you can be flexible, you're gonna be more likely to get that reservation as well. And then tip number 5, like I said, I, as a travel agent, and other travel agents that I know, are always right on time. And that can be a lot. That can be a lot because, one, like I said, it's midnight Disney time. So if you are on that time, or even Central Standard Time, I'm not usually staying up till 11 most nights, especially in the middle of the week. But travel agents are going to do that for you. That's something that, I should say, good travel agents are going to do that for you. They're going to make sure that they're doing the most for their clients. They can get they have the highest opportunity or the highest shot at getting the reservations that you're looking for. So a lot of the times, if I have clients wanting Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique reservations, since that's 60 days ahead of time at midnight, and their dining is 60 days ahead at 6 a.m., I am either staying up until that time or setting an alarm to get up at that time, and then setting an alarm to get up again for their dining reservations. So that can be a lot when you're planning, and that might not sound like something that you want to do. My services are completely included in your Disney vacation package. So that is just one great reason to use a travel agent. And if that sounds like something that you would benefit from, I will leave my planning link below. Before we dive into part 2, I just wanted to quickly introduce myself. Hi, I'm Kinsey, a Disney loving mama and travel agent who helps families tailor their vacations to their budget, pace, and personality. And I'll be bringing you along to see how we enjoy the magic as well, to get you excited for your trips. So now on to part 2, how to actually book Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. So there's kind of 2 ways you can do this. You can do this through your app. I find the app to be a little bit quicker, but I also catch myself, depending on the scenario, especially if I'm booking for clients, doing it on the computer, because for me, I feel like it's easier for me to navigate, especially between multiple reservations if I'm on a laptop. Sometimes I'm doing both, depending on how many reservations I'm looking for or what type of reservations I'm looking for. So all that to say, you can either do that on the app or you can do that on the computers. So what that's going to look like, I'm actually going to have a screen recording here of it on the app, but it's basically the same steps. So you're going to find Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique either on your My Disney Experience app, or if you log into your Walt Disney World account on a computer, you would search that as well. And then you are going to go into that. It's going to pull up Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, where it tells you some information about it, but it will have a check availability button. So you will check availability at that time. And then it's going to have you select the number of guests that you are booking for. So if you have one little girl that you're booking for, if you have 2 daughters like me and you're booking for 2, you would select that at that time. And then it's gonna pull up that availability at that time. And usually you're gonna see that split into like morning, afternoon, and evening availability. As you can see here, just another random tip that I'm throwing in here, I would personally suggest, if you can, doing morning or early afternoon, because if you're paying for the package, this is just my opinion, it's gonna feel a lot more worth it if your little one can have that hair, dress, makeup, whatever package you decide to do, but have that princess makeover and be able to enjoy that as much of the day as possible. i.e. if you're getting that makeover really close to closing time and then the park closes and then you go home and go to bed, it's like you just paid all that money to have them in a princess makeover for 2 to 3 hours potentially, and it might not feel as worth it to you in that moment. So that's just something to keep in mind. I would suggest getting the earliest reservation you can to enjoy it as much as you can throughout that day. One thing to note is that when you do book that reservation, it's going to ask for a good phone number, and it's also going to ask for a credit card to put on file. It's not going to charge you at this time. It's just on there for potential of cancellation. So know that, have that ready. And another tip to kind of get through that quicker and help secure that a little bit quicker, because sometimes getting right on time can feel overwhelming and very like stressful. It feels like you're like, oh, I gotta do this really fast. One thing that's gonna help, if you have your credit card already stored on file, then it's just gonna pull up credit card on file. You can hit yes, and it makes you don't have to enter all your credit card information right then and there while you're trying to get that booked. So another tip there. And then last reminder on this point is that your kiddos do have to be at least 3 years old to enjoy this experience, and they cannot be older than 12 to enjoy this experience. So any kiddos between the ages 3 and 12 to do Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, and they must be accompanied by an adult. On to part 3, what to know before you book. I feel like I kind of went over just a couple things in part 2, but a couple other things. One, like I briefly mentioned earlier, there are a couple different package types. So you don't have to select your package at the time of booking. This is something that you're gonna select once you get to your appointment. However, I would suggest looking into the different options beforehand so you can know kind of what you're thinking before you get in there. So as of right now, this is semi-recently updated. Option number 1, they have the fairy tale package, which starts at $119. And then option 2, they have the kingdom package, which starts at $229. And just as a quick overview, the biggest difference between those two is the kingdom package. The more expensive one does include a princess gown, crown, wand, and necklace. The smaller package doesn't include all that. It just includes like the makeover, the hair, the makeup, and I believe nails. That being said, you can bring your own princess gown. So if you want them to have that full princess look or feel like the full princess makeover without paying the more expensive price, you can bring like a princess gown with you, and they will still let them change and kind of have that little magical experience that they do. Our plan, since it's going to be my oldest's birthday, is to bring a gown for my youngest and then let my oldest pick a gown. And in the future, when my youngest turns 5, we can flip-flop. So just a thought there, if you want to do the experience but you don't want to pay for the more expensive package, that is kind of a hack there that you are able to do. And then just so you're aware if it applies to you at all, they do also have an adventure package for little boys that might be wanting to have a unique experience where they can kind of have like a night makeover as well. Part number 4, planning around your appointment. So it says on Disney's website that the appointment can last up to 90 minutes. So this is something to definitely take into consideration, because you're not gonna wanna have, you could have a lightning lane towards the end of your reservation as long as you have that hour time frame, or like the end of that hour time frame where you would be able to get in it, but you're not gonna wanna have like a dining reservation an hour after, because you might not be able to get it. Like if you have a Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique reservation for 9 a.m. and a breakfast reservation at Crystal Palace at 10 a.m., you're probably not gonna make that, and then you're gonna hit that cancellation fee. So definitely keep in mind that this could last, like this experience could last up to 90 minutes when you are planning your park day. And friendly reminder that a Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique reservation does not replace park admission. It does not replace a ticket. So you can't just go up to the gate and say, well, we're only here to do the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique experience and then we're leaving. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique is inside of Magic Kingdom, and therefore you do need a Magic Kingdom park ticket in order to get into the park and do that experience. And like I mentioned earlier, just try to consider if you can getting an earlier reservation in the day so that your kiddo and you get to kind of enjoy the makeover and experience of that as much of the day as possible. That kind of wraps up my initial tips, tricks, and just information when it comes to initially booking that Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique reservation and some best practices to help you get that sometimes hard to come by reservation if it's something that's really important to you and your family. Like I said, this is going to be part 1 of a part 3 series. So part 2 will be here in the next couple months after we actually do that experience ourselves, because we did just book it, which is why I'm making this video. So part 2 will include that full experience. So you can get to see what that's like, kind of get to see the difference in the packages, as like I said, we will be doing both for our girlies. And then I will follow that up with a part 3 to kind of go over my final thoughts, tips after experiencing it for ourselves. If this was helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for the upcoming next parts about Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique so you can get the most out of your reservation, or if you're just on the edge, see if that's really something that you're wanting to do. And of course, for upcoming tips and magic with my trips coming up this summer. Again, I will link my planning form below if you are interested in getting started with a magical trip of your own. And if you have any questions at all, let me know. And you know what? If I still have you here, let me know what you think about my hair, okay? Because I use this waver, and usually if I wave my hair or crimp my hair, if you will, I like wand curl the top because I don't like the top layer like that. I just went all in, and I feel like it's too poofy. Like I kind of don't love that I'm filming a video with it like this. But you know, let me know your honest thoughts below. Give it to me straight. Just want to know. Anyways, until next time, keep chasing the moments that make your family's magic. Bye.